morning, Coach. Thanks for doing this. Just wondering, with more positive tests today, are you getting at a critical stage here where there might be the onset of another pause, perhaps?
It's tough to say. You know, I thought this morning that this might happen. You know, that game last night kind of reminded me of the Calgary game, where just lack of energy and really just our minds weren't there, and we just weren't sharp, and that's not an excuse. It's just we weren't sharp, and that's kind of reminds me of the Calgary game earlier in the year, and it's unfortunate a couple more guys are going down.
Nothing yet from the league on whether Seattle is a go?
No. I mean, I don't deal with that anyways. All I can do is next guy up. Today we're forward short. We got Brownie to practice. Wasn't able to do contact really, but Brownie got in there. We called up Gadet after the game, so if not, we would have been 2D short. So it's not an ideal situation, but it is what it is.
Is it tough to sell to the players, Coach, that it's just next man up mentality and you got to keep going?
Sure, but I mean, what choice do you have? I mean, it's unfortunate. We played through November with guy in, guy out. Kind of eventually we got shut down. And it's kind of deja vu. It's all over again. And certainly with Shabby being precautionary, that's a major blow. Chris Tierney, we're already beat up pretty good down the middle. So we'll see what happens here. And the good thing is, if the guys don't get real bad symptoms, they'll be back sooner and later. You'll get Norris, Paul, Ennis, Forsberg. You'll get all these guys starting to come back here shortly. So we'll see what happens for Seattle. But it looks like most of those guys will be back for Vancouver.
Chris Garriott, Post Media.
Just to be clear, just on Chabot and Tierney and Mete, were they all precautionary testing?
Mete was banged up. The other two testing. I mean, if you dig into it, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that don't test for 90 days because they've had COVID. So there's only a handful of guys left that haven't had it, and those are the guys we're testing every day. And from what we've seen, it keeps picking off guys one after another. I mean, guys are doing everything they can with masks and what have you. But it's hard when you're on the bench right next to the guy, or you're practicing right next to the guy. So, we probably expect more, but there's only a few left.
Just, and I know this isn't your department, but is there any frustration level on your part with the fact that there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the way games are postponed?
I mean, I'm just frustrated that we don't have the players that you at your disposal to play. I mean, unfortunately for us, White and Pinto get hurt at the start of the year, so it makes guys going out that much worse, I guess, for us, especially when you lose a guy like Norris or and now Tierney down the middle. You're without all four of your centermen, so it makes it tough. But the league's doing their best. I mean, this is unknown territory, uncharted waters for everybody. I mean, unfortunately, we were one of the first teams to get it in November, and then there was new protocols and teams got shut down quicker because they seen how quickly it spread. And the league's doing their absolute best. It's just it's a tough situation.
Just on, you said Josh Brown just kind of joined you because you needed a guy. When could he actually return? Is he 2 weeks away, a month away?
Well, I'm going to talk to the trainers. He looked pretty good out there today. I mean, we're, certainly we're not going to jump anyone ahead of their start time just because we're banged up. We got to make sure we do the right things. But originally it was January that. We thought he'd be back, so he looked pretty good today. I'll talk to the trainers and see where he's at.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Go to Claire Hanna at TSN.
Just a quick one for me, DJ. Are you almost grateful that there's no game tomorrow, just given how this is picking guys off, in your words?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to play games, but you also want to play with your team, and injuries are part of the game, and that happens. But I don't think ever you're going to have a situation where you'd have this many injuries that happen this quickly. Sometimes teams run into real rash injuries, but they happen over time. And then the time that the guy's out and maybe, you know, you bring a guy up or you pick a guy off waivers or whatever the case may be. This is just so, you know, untimely, I guess, some of the things that happens with this. And all of a sudden, you know, you're going into a game and all of a sudden you're without, you know, 8 guys. And that's just tough. I mean, that's a bad situation for Belleville. You know, they got to lend us all their guys. And then, you know, we got, instead of 1 or 2 guys playing, you know, maybe their first NHL game or their 5th, you got a whole bunch of them. So it's unfortunate, but you know what? We're going to get healthy here. Like I said, I think Vancouver looks like, you know, we're going to be real close to what our team was and what we look like in December, and I look forward to that day.
Ian Mendez, The Athletic.
Hey, DJ, I got 2 questions for you. The first would be Eric Branson played, I think, a little north of 3 minutes yesterday, and I'm wondering what you thought of him shorthanded, and is that something you can see yourself using him more in the weeks ahead?
Well, I mean, our penalty kill was great. I mean, we gave up, unfortunately, we take a bad penalty at the end of the game. If the one bright spot of yesterday's game was our penalty kill. And, you know, we give up one late, you know, that hurts. You know, Toronto it was almost 38%, you know, since November 1st with their power play. And you go in and take 6 penalties and they don't beat you on it. Brandy did a real nice job on that. He's got good mobility, clears pucks. But the bottom line is all the penalty kill guys are, you know, you got Brown out, you got Zaitsev out. So, I mean, you got to learn on the spot. Brandy, I thought last year when I talked to Jack, did a nice job at the end of the year. He killed some penalties for us. So it wasn't his first go at it, and I thought he did a nice job.
And my other one would be, you gave Stützle a little bit of time with Tkachuk and Batherson. It just didn't quite work out yesterday. What did you see out of that trio in limited time?
Well, the unfortunate part is you're on the road, and they're going against Austin Matthews. So, I mean, you want to keep the kid there, and you want to keep it all night, but is it fair that he's playing against one of the league's best players every shift? I tried, you know, with putting Tierney there and putting him back with Formie and Brown, I got him away from Matthews, you know, who was dominant in the circle, and it gave Timmy a little more success. So it's more conducive for them to play at home, and I get my matchup, and I get them out there against who I want. It's not fair to a guy like Timmy, 19 years old, you know, to be going against Matthews and Marner every single shift, especially in the circle, in the D zone. You know, he's only played, you know, a dozen or so games, whatever it is, at center. You know, so it was a tough matchup for him, and I tried to get him away from him. But I remember Austin Matthews as a rookie, very similar. You know, when I was running the defense in Toronto, we went into Pittsburgh, and Sidney Crosby, you know, was all over him, and he couldn't check him, and he had a tough time. And, you know, you learn from it, and that's what it's all about.